Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee. Da 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 da. Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La da 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 dee. La da 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 da.
What's going on, guys? We are back for another Mitch on the mic. It has been a long time. I apologize once again. Hopefully, we have got everything set up right. Hopefully, we can remember how to do this all over again. Now, a couple of things we're going to be talking about today. We got the Wolhuter boys on, both Christian and Martin. We're going to be chatting with them throughout the chat today. A couple of things on top of that, I'll probably go through more so after we have our chat with both Christian and Martin. We're talking very briefly about the recent nationals that happened down in Sydney, but we'll get onto that a little bit later on. With that as well, just a bit of a heads up, if the audio sounds a bit different, I will be running just a different pair of headphones today, guys. I'm going to be testing out a bit of a travel live stream sort of setup. That way I can go on a work trip coming up very shortly. And we might be able to do a couple of live stream whilst we're up at Gladstone for the next month or so. So without further ado, I'll introduce both Christian and Martin Wolhuter. We'll get them on. There we go. Here we are, boys. How's it going, boys?
There you go. Hey, mate, how you going?
Yeah, pretty good, fellas. How you guys been? You guys keeping nice and busy?
Always busy, tinkering.
Yeah, it's been pretty hectic. A little bit of downtime now, which is really good. I'm going to be enjoying a bit of family time. But yeah, it's been really busy.
Yeah. All right, so we'll kick off with a little bit of history of you guys before we sort of move on to the next sort of stage where we start talking about, you know, what you guys have been up to more recently, you know, all that sort of side of things. Martin, I want to start with you because I quickly did a little bit of searching and stuff, and I'll try to find this. I can bring this up on screen if I can remember how to do it. Let's see. There we go. Let's bring this one up. So, Martin, you used to race a fair bit in your own time, pre-Christian, to my knowledge.
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
A long time ago. 20.
Yeah.
Go through a bit of that for us.
Well, I started racing at the age of, I think it was 25, when my wife and I moved to the US. Started out racing gas truck, the old two-wheel drive nitro gas truck back in the day. And did that for quite a number of years over there. I think we were there for like 8 or 9 years. Was lucky enough to end up on the Mugen Seiki factory team for the East Coast of for gas truck, and ended up winning the gas truck East Coast championship. Back in the day, obviously, we had the likes of Adam Drake over there. We had Chris Moore, Chad Bradley would come over every now and again, and we'd do some gas truck racing, and that was sort of where I started. My local track was Mills Pond. Fantastic off-road, proper off-road. We got rough as all hell. Did that for quite a number of years, and then it was when we started seeing the growth of the 1/8 scale nitro coming into effect, which was probably a couple of years before we left the US. And then we left the US, come over to Australia, and you know, with my background with Mugen, I came over here and started racing with Mugen. Yeah, that's sort of been racing. Well, I suppose I've been in the hobby for about 35 years now, I guess, in total. And then I stopped racing when Christian was probably,
No, you don't even know that. It's when I started beating him. That's all that matters.
Yeah, right.
When I started beating him, that's when he stopped.
Yeah. It's all about when you're beating me. Yeah, okay. So a few years ago, was when I stopped racing and and started focusing on this peanut.
Good. It's classic. We see that a lot, especially as of now. The father-son combo. Once the youngster starts sort of beating the old man, the passing of the torch in a lot of ways. It's really cool to see. I'm sure from one perspective more than the father's perspective. In certain ways, probably good to see your son or daughter in probably certain situations coming up. Probably a pretty proud moment to yourself, Mum.
Man, I tell you, I've often thought about what I get more enjoyment out of was going to those races and racing myself, or going to the races and sorting out this peanut. And I think, if I'm honest with myself, I rather enjoy doing what I'm doing now. I get much more enjoyment out of it. But it's still as stressful. The win for me is watching Christian succeed, and I know it's not only about what happens on the track. There's as you know, but there's so much that happens in order to get those results. And being, I suppose, quite fastidious in making sure that the cars are ready, and then teaching Christian and him learning and getting better and better in that. Honestly, I couldn't be proud. That's the way. I think that my enjoyment is much more now than it ever was. It's an addiction at the end of the day. It really is.
It's news to me.
Hey, keep talking.
That's golden. And I know that you have had a run recently. I'm pretty sure you had a run over in was it Philippines or Jakarta when you had the truggy run?
Yeah, Philippines. Thanks for bringing that up, mate.
No, you're right, matey. And how'd you go over there for that one? I should have it all right here as well, actually.
Oh, I sort of went there with the intention of just killing a bit of time, and knowing that the track was going to be traction, knowing that you pretty much could run with any bloody setup realistically and still turn a lap. I thought, okay, that'll be me. Put a truggy in the track, whatever setup's in it, we'll just run that. I actually think it was the setup from one of the nationals that we had over here, which would be nowhere near what it should have been, but it is what it is. Anyway, so I went there and threw that in the track and turned some laps, and every now and again I would do a few pretty hot laps, and I thought my hot laps would be probably 5 seconds slower than him, but it'll still be my hot lap. And then I'd have the old brain fade and meltdown and end up in the bush somewhere, and just freaking disastrous at the end of the day. I did okay. I ended up in the AMA. It wasn't a massive field, so I think that probably helped my cause a bit. But I think in the main I ended up.
You got 12th overall.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me know.
That's with a DNF, so I'm guessing you must have had a mechanical issue towards the end of it, because you still got 41 laps.
We'll call it a mechanical.
But no, I mean, how'd you enjoy that, having a bit of a run after probably a little while of a break? How'd you feel, other than the odd mishap here and there?
There's a reason why I stopped racing, and that just reinforced it. It really did. So I'm happy with giving it just one more somewhat of a crack, and now that's it. That's me done. I know there's a reason why I stopped. I just my hands don't do what my brain's telling it to do. So it's like, what's the point?
You had such glowing reviews of 10 scale before we jumped on live that you don't think you'd ever jump on a 10 scale buggy or something like that and have a run?
Hell no. I'll do a 10 scale short course. Try the old bus.
Perfect.
demand driving the 10 scale short course bus, that's fine. I might have a crack at that one day. We come
Yeah.
over to Chocolates and race with you.
Beautiful. I'm up for it.
Well, he ended up leaving the bloody trucking in the Philippines.
Yeah, that's exactly where it is. We're still sitting in the Philippines.
That's still trackside, is it? Just leave it on your bench.
I did. Obviously, I had Christian was racing EP and Nitro Buggy. So whatever came off the track, I put it on top. I put a charge in it every now and again, and then put it back on the track and race. And then I thought, well, you know what? I need the radio gear out of that, so I pulled the radio gear out and I left everything else there.
I've got a comment here that I'll let you explain it as well, Martin. Ask Martin about the Truggy final at Philippines 23.
Listen, mate, I think we need to have a chat offline about that. All right? That's why I said we'll leave it as a DNF. Thanks.
All right.
It's all right.
Okay. Moving on, Christian. Obviously, some of your race results recently have been just exceptional. I feel as if the last probably year or so, like I don't think that I probably ever, had much of to do with you or heard your name that much. All of probably about 2 years ago. But as of the last sort of year and a half, your name's really been coming up through the ranks. Have you guys been turning just heaps of laps? What do you attribute a lot of that to?
Well, it's been a struggle because of the weather here in Perth. Because we are home trackers in a national park, we have fire bans, which prevent us from racing. So we would have a fire ban 1 week, and then it'll be pouring down raining the next week. And the week after that will be another fire ban. So we couldn't really turn many laps over as far as practice. I think most of the practice has been going to the different tracks and just, having the main events such as like Vietnam and everything. So I think that's mainly this year has been my practice, just been going to heaps of different tracks around the world and, just turning laps over there.
Yep. Oh, fair enough. We started off the year running the Femcar event. That was over in Vietnam, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And fairly tough competition over there as well. You had Little Bump over there having a run as well. I'm pretty sure you got the TQ over Little Bump, didn't you?
Overnight TQ.
Overnight TQ.
Yeah, you got me in the next day.
Yeah. But how was that event in general? How was running over in Vietnam? Was that one of your first overseas runs, or have you run overseas a couple of times before that?
The year before that was Philippines.
Yeah.
So 2023 Philippines was my first overseas trip. In terms of like the Vietnam race, I think the track itself, I did enjoy. Like the carpet definitely provided a different sort of aspect to it. Because you're going from super slippery surface to like super grippy once you're on the carpet, and lots of high bite. I mean, the hour bus ride there and back was average. But in terms of like the venue was amazing, track was amazing, everything was really great. And being able to go up against Lil Bump and Hyu Young Jung, the Korean kid. Yeah, it's great. It's great to verse different people and on a different track. So yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of other locals as well. Mean Vajak was there. He's an ex-world champion as well. I know Christian and he had a ding dong battle in the main. Jason Negroho was there. There was so many local or localish fast cars there that it brings a different dynamic to it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you could think you're going to go over there and just have a cruise, because you're going to get your ass handed.
Yeah. I'm trying to quickly bring up a bit of the main from that event. So that way people who haven't seen it already can have a quick squiz. But the entire live, so the entire main our A main is actually live on YouTube. I'll quickly bring up.
Yeah, it was just a little story with that. I know that during the main, I think Christian was probably in the region of I think about 15 minutes in, and that one section of the track, he actually he stacked it, and unbeknownst to me, the air filter actually fell off. So
Oh, right.
it flamed. The car flamed out, and brought into the pits. Was run to the pits, and obviously I wouldn't have known that. I just thought it was a flame out. So I fired it back up again, and threw the car back out there and carrying on running, and the car finished the race in third. And I thought to myself after that, I thought, you know what, let's just see what happens with this motor. So when I got back to Perth, I pulled the motor apart, had a look at it, had the feel of the bearings, and I thought, stuff it, put it back together. We started using it for club racing, and that was the same motor that we ran over in with nothing changed. I didn't change the bearings, I didn't change anything. Same motor we ran in Brisbane, yeah, in Brisbane for that event, for the ABC
right.
race, and because this track, there was pretty much the dust that was coming off the track was so fine. There's only all I can put it down to is that there was no, like, it wasn't sandy. It was like talcum powder.
Right.
When I pulled the motor apart to check it, I checked the piston alarm, and there was not a score on it at all. It still had pinch. I thought, well, let's run it and see what happens. And it kept on going. Great motor. So that's how you need to break your motor. Take it to Vietnam and take the air filter off.
All right, and we have to address this as well. Tony Firth has actually jumped on from
Seen that
and he
comment.
said, have you stolen a muffin from anyone lately? What's this in reference to?
Yeah, so Scotty, Dad and I were on the bus. Scotty Ernest. Dad and Scotty both have the exact same bag, identical, and Scotty put his bag next to Dad, like where Dad was sitting, and I seen a muffin in it. I thought it was Dad's, and I ate it. So he stuck his hand in the bag, across the side of the bus there, grabs a muffin, and starts chewing on it. The look on Scotty's face was absolutely amazing. I wish I had a video camera. Yeah, thanks, Scotty.
Thanks, Scotty. He's good with his sharing and stuff. He shared some short course rooms with me. I'm sure he wouldn't have minded too much.
Yeah. No, that was
Geez. Who cut your hair, Martin? Reese Hendy.
Your wife.
Oh, you just knew it was coming. Okay. So yeah, that was pretty much your first major event of this year, at least. Solid results from there. You ended up third from that event. And yeah, as you mentioned before, in a strong race. Had Philong in that one. But yeah, so how did you feel coming out of that, looking towards the rest of the year as well?
honestly, I had no idea. Purely because I think our next race was the Nationals. Even though I know sort of everyone at the Nationals, I know what their capabilities are and how fast they are and sort of things. So I think because the Nationals track and Vietnam, the surface are completely different. I wasn't too sure what was to come because Nationals was a lot of grip. But I mean, it's track time at the end of the day, and no matter what track, as long as you're turning laps, it's good practice anyway. So yeah.
Yeah. No, exactly, and Nationals this year being held down in South Australia on the oil surface, and as you mentioned there, quite a high grip oil as well. Probably the highest grip oil track that we have in Australia. I'd say. You would say probably higher than Pine Hills, pretty comfortably, would you?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
From what I could see, at least, it looked like the cars had just tons of bite going around there. Everyone looked to be running a fairly low sort of setup, and sort of countering that. But yeah, it looked like a fun track as well. can't seem to find. Oh, it'll be on RC Race Media. I'll have a look through for that as well. Nationals. We'll have a quick chat about nationals as well. You ran both electric buggy and also nitro. I know you had a couple of difficulties, I would say, with the electric buggy, if I remember rightly.
Rightly, yeah, a bit warm, a bit toasty.
Yeah. So what went on with that car itself? Do you guys remember what actually happened?
In terms of electric, all I know is I think I noticed a lack of power going through I think it was the triple. I thought, I might as well just keep going. It's just going to die sooner or later. I might as well just keep running. And after I think it was the big double before the straight, it was really starting to die. And I think the next lap I was going to come in and retire the car. But it was that straight. It just decided to, smoke and then flames and then there's,
Dead when running.
yeah. I was like, oh, here we go. But yeah, it was definitely a new experience that I've never experienced before.
Me either. What do I know about electrics?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing. Thanks.
Yeah, but yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah. So I pulled the body off and basically just grabbed whatever I could out of it and found out there was a battery that had caused that it got on fire. Yeah, I think, when the batteries, they weren't old by any stretch of the imagination. They were not even slightly puffed. So, I don't know. No idea. There was, no idea.
Yeah. Actually, I've just realised as well, is Tony Firth actually over in Korea at the moment? And he's commenting on this as well. If he's doing double duties at the moment, that's pretty solid. I forgot about that. So anyone that's wanted to have a look at RC Race Media, what they're doing, they're currently over in Korea for the Asian On-Road Championships. Maybe, he says. Get back to work, Tony. Far out. No comment. Get back to work. Yeah. But yeah, anyone that wants to have a look at what they're doing, they're currently at the Asian On-Road Championships held by Scotty Ernst as well. Really cool to see that back up and running again after, I think it's been a little while since I had that Asian On-Road Championships going. So back up and running. Okay. Onto the cars. S-Works vehicles. You've been running them for a couple of years now, to my knowledge. How are you sort of getting on with the cars themselves? How are you finding the sort of the S-Works team working together, that sort of things?
Yeah, so since 2018, after the Worlds, so before 2018 I was running Kyosho for a little bit, and then we went to S-Works, and who was it? I think we had a chat to Scott Yang. I think it was after the Worlds, I had a drive of his car, and I seemed to like it, so Dad got me an S-Works, and since then I've been driving it consistently for how long is that now? Quite a while.
6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. Somewhere around there, and we know the ins and outs of it. So I think that's definitely translated to all the races we've been to in terms of knowledge and setup knowledge and everything. So yeah.
And how are you finding the actual sort of team working together as well? Do you guys get along pretty well with the US drivers, any European drivers? You guys communicate pretty well?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's so much that we can ask, and we do get responses and have chats with the guys. The thing is that through our experience, we know the car so well. With being with them for 6 years, that although we can still learn from others as to try different stuff, we sort of know how the car performs on what sort of track. From the experience of going from the likes of the slippery freaking Vietnam track to the likes of Pine Hills and Philippines and South Australia. I mean, we have a very good understanding on how the car performs. We sort of know what to throw at the car to begin with, and then just build from there. We do talk to teams throughout the world, but not like we are always on them to see what little bits and pieces we can find out, because we know that the car has evolved, but it has evolved quite slowly. They're not drastic changes to the car. So the piece that they seem to be adding to it has improved the car tenths at a time. So
Yeah.
I think we're pretty lucky in that way. And some people might think, it's still an old car, but it isn't really, because it's still TQ'd the worlds, and it came second and third of the worlds, and through Australasia it's performing fantastic, and even the likes of in the US it's well up there. So it's not an old car. It might be an old platform, but the car's new, if that sort of makes sense. The refinements are making it better and better each time.
Yeah. No, they look like very strong platform as well. The cars themselves, you don't see them breaking coming off the track all up. So so that everything seems pretty good.
I think that part of the downside for sales is the fact that they are just so bloody strong. The wear rate on them is amazing. I was thinking about it the other day. I changed Christian's. Actually, here we go. Here's a story for you. Over in Jakarta, I thought I'd be wise and take his car for a drive on the practice day we had. Oh, yeah, I broke his front arm. So anyway, I changed both front arms on the car at the time. I thought, well, I'm not going to do one. I'll do both. And I was trying to think when the last time it was that I actually changed the arms. And I honestly think it was when I put that kit together for the Nationals. So it's quite been on there for ages. So I think about how these cars don't break, and parts wear, to the drivetrain as you would expect, but they're just unbelievable cars, and that doesn't only apply to AWST. You even look the likes of the Mugen and some of the other brands and the Associated and whatnot. They are all as strong. So the wear rate is fantastic these days. The improvements are huge.
No, it's good.
I see Ty's comment. That's unless Jacko flings it into a tree and bends the chassis.
Back at your time.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he did it a couple of times as well at full noise down the back straight at South Australia. I know there was definitely one that had turned that chassis into a banana, that's for sure. But gotta love a little bit of wacko Jacko coming out.
Yeah,
What's
I
up,
wouldn't have
Aaron?
been to be driving an S-Works, mate. Just saying. You would have
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good to see, different brands as well. We don't see probably a huge amount of S-Works in Australia, but we all know that it's a fairly strong platform, strong cars, and the results that you guys are getting as well. I think it really shows that there's nothing wrong with the cars and they're a quick car. So it's good to sort of see that as well. Moving on to next races after the sort of nationals, we had the other ABC rounds being in Brisbane and Jakarta. Overall, which track do you actually prefer?
It was Philippines after the Nationals.
Philippines after nationals?
Yeah.
Which track out of the ABC races that you went to did you actually prefer? Tough one, huh?
Look,
You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings, mate.
no, I'm trying to think. Three tracks are, I would say, very different. Pine Hills, I would say is probably the most technical in terms of jumping into corners and exiting and all that sort of stuff, because the lap times were super close. Philippines, it's a lot wider. It's a lot bigger in terms of like 2024. There was less jumps, so times were still close, but the lanes are really huge, and I think there was a little bit less room for error. And Jakarta it's natural. It's also, I think anyone could do Jakarta track. I think to do it consistently is very difficult because it's very deceiving. Like the driver stand is like 2 stories, 2.5 stories tall. It's like the biggest driver stand I've ever been on. So out of the 3, I would say probably Jakarta. I think Jakarta is sick. Like massive track, a big time span for the laps, and I think Adrian definitely put a killer track together.
And at the same time, I think that is the only thing that is straight on that track is the straight. Everything else is at some form of angle. So if your line's on right, you're going to end up in the canyon, and then it's after lunch. So it's very deceiving.
Yeah. I'll try and
There's
quickly bring up a bit of Jakarta. See if we can bring up from the start.
I think at least 60% on that track you're in the air. It's crazy. It's
Let's bring it up. And was the actual surface itself completely natural? They didn't treat it at all?
I think they sift out all the rocks.
Yep.
So it's a very fine powder almost, I would say. Not powder, but it's packed, but it's
So what I found out was the owner of the track his name is Adrian Ricasano. He's a third at his local track, which is absolutely fantastic. So that dirt, he arranged to get 40 trucks. 40 trucks or 400 trucks? 40 truckloads of that dirt from one of the islands brought over to that area where the track is. They before they brought it over, they sifted it, got all the rock out of it. But then they brought it over, then they made the track, and then they water it and compact it to the nth degree. And I mean, if you look at that part of the track there, you can see a couple of small little, like tiny little divots. That was the biggest divot there was on that track, the whole event.
Right.
And they had the marshals out there were part of the track crew as well. And every night, if there was a small where the cars are coming over now, that section there, Adrian had them rip. I mean, there was nothing wrong with it. Like there was nothing wrong with it, and Adrian had them rip it up on one of the nights during qualies, and they totally redid the surface. Because Adrian wasn't happy that there was a couple of small little divots in there. There was nothing wrong with it, but that's the sort of care and maintenance that he puts into this track. It's absolutely phenomenal, and what a true vision of the motorsport.
No, it looked epic. I actually probably, out of all the rounds other than the Brisbane round, which I attended, this is probably the event that I watched the most of on Aussie Race Media or Live Aussie. Just watching it, it looked like an incredible layout. It looked like awesome racing. You had great drivers in it as well, being Kuki Kato, which we've heard quite a lot about as of lately, running both the 10-scale off-road worlds over in the US. The world titles for the 8-scale on-road. He's been all over lately and putting in some awesome performances, and running 8-scale off-road as well now, and showing that he has a lot of pace in this as well. It's pretty awesome to see, as well as Naoto. Really good names being in that sort of the top 10, obviously JQ in there. But how was it actually racing against those guys that I'm sure you probably heard about for a fair while?
Yeah, so I think this was the first time I've actually heard of them. But I knew Nato and Kuki were insanely fast. I definitely got a feel for them during qualifying. I know one of the rounds I almost TQ'd, and I think it was like 200th of a second behind Nato, who TQ'd that round. But I knew I still had the pace, at least during qualifying, and yeah, so they were in the finals super quick. But I know Nato and I were similar pace in the final. I definitely think Nato had more drive than me, but he made more mistakes, so I guess I could keep up with him a little bit more. And Kuki was
Yeah.
just like you can see here, he's
Checked out.
checked out.
Yeah. And yeah, we saw you boys battle pretty much all the way to the line from what I could remember. It went on for just about 60 minutes in between, the fuel. You could see different fuel play going on. What strategy you guys go for in the end? Do you guys actually split your strategy between yourself and them?
Well,
You were fueling.
Yeah, so I knew that they were going to be doing around about the 7-minute mark, and I will always try. So that S-Power Soul motor on that track was doing 9 minutes, no problems.
Right.
So I couldn't quite, get because the track times are the lap times are so low. I couldn't quite risk doing the old 10-minute stuff. So I thought, well, I know they're doing the sevens or close enough to it. I know we can stretch to 7:30 without any problems. So yeah, I'd rather come in and have a clean pit as opposed to, pit lanes always mayhem. So I'd rather just try and keep that as clear as I could, and give Christian the best chance I could give him.
Yeah, fair enough. And how similar would you consider this track to be, say, compared to your home track or Witness Park or MORBC? Is there any sort of relation? Do you have a similar setup going between those two tracks, or how would that go down?
Certain setup, yes. I would say probably diff setup was, I would say, the main difference, and Ackerman angle and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, being on natural dirt, I think definitely played in my favour. We sort of know, I think tyres made up 80% of the setup. So we went in there knowing what tyres we need, which definitely resulted in helping the car out. So we knew setup was fine, and we knew tyres were good, so we just needed to tweak a few things. And yeah, it was pretty much left alone for quite a fair bit of the race.
When I was looking at the track online prior to going, it's like I said, this is my addiction. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just what I sort of live for. Is when I look at a track, I try and study it as much as I sort of can, and I watch old races, I watch new races. It's quite strange the way I carry on about it. But when I look at a track, I try and work out what setup I think will work for that track prior to going. And I seen Christian over there a few days before I went, so he actually had the practice over there without me. And that was because I had to go to work. So I managed to get off work and go there on the Friday for the start of qualies. But the setup which we went with was I think after that we didn't change much. There was I think there were some tweaks where on the setup, but I think it was pretty close
Out the gate.
Yeah. So yeah, we made some changes, but it wasn't a lot. I think I definitely think I went backwards. Well, I think we went backwards a little bit with the shock packet at the end. I think we could definitely have improved on that. I'm looking at the car. Hindsight's a great thing, especially when you can't do anything about. So I'm looking at the car, I'm going, oh shit, we talk about the drive of the car and where it's lacking, and I think we definitely could have made some improvements, but that's hindsight, and that's just the way it goes, and that's how it all played out.
Yeah. No, I mean it looked like an awesome event, and the track, as you said there, but the fact they put so much effort into controlling how good that track was, it's pretty incredible what they do, especially in a lot of those Asian sort of based countries. Definitely hoping to get over to the Philippine Masters myself next year, but see how that goes. But yeah, good to see you guys got good results over there as well. Tell me about how your setup actually evolved during the event. Did you change much actually through the actual event over at Jakarta, or as you said, that did you fairly keep it pretty close to the same as what you run?
I'd say fairly close. Like the little things like sway bars, the different pills and all that sort of stuff. But that's all the little things. I think shocks we tested in in qualifying, I think it was. The last qualifier, I knew I locked in an okay spot, so I thought I might as well just test and see what happens. So we're just testing some prototype like shock inserts based off of the trophy trucks. I think it definitely helped with like the landing and landing and takeoff because of the pack of the shock. But then again, I'm not sure how that sort of affected the drive of the car, because I'm watching Nato against me, and you can definitely tell that he's got way more drive than me. So I wish we tested that after the race, like some normal shocks that we normally run, and see what that changed.
Yep.
But yeah, just in terms of testing, see.
Well, they're like testing a brand new product in the A main at a international event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we thought, well, we'll give it a crack, see what happens. I mean, the car felt pretty good. I think we could have done a few things a little bit differently, but that's the way it goes. That's racing.
Yeah. And so that's pretty much the ABC. You were crowned overall champion as well. You attended 3 events and got great results at all 3. I think there was there's a fair few other drivers that went to all 3 events at least. I know Zach Ryan was one of them. I'm pretty sure Ben Panic went to 3. A couple other drivers such as like Ryan. I've forgotten now. Hayosho Ryan. Jesus, I'm all over the place now. Went to 2 events. We had Alex Menardic and stuff running in Brisbane. A couple of guys went over to New Zealand, but the results you guys got from the 3 events you went to was great, and end up being the overall champion. How'd that feel?
Yeah, it was great. Yes, it's definitely surreal. I think because of all the hard work we put in, it's definitely a great feeling. But yeah, it was great to be overall champion, to go to all these different races and compete. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
I think part of it as well is, racing is we know how quickly things can change and how quickly you can break something and or DNF, and it'll just cost you. Nothing worse than getting to an AMA somewhere and just breaking because of something bloody stupid. And I think the fact that touch bloody heaps of wood, we've been pretty lucky in making sure that everything's gone right for us. We haven't even had a servo failure, which, I mean, these servos, we're running the Futaba 701 servos, and we're running them since the Nationals in Perth in 2023. Same set of servos. And I even said to Christian at Jakarta, should we change the servos? He goes, they're working. Why change them? I'm like, all right, okay. Change something. It might break, so don't change it,
Yeah.
So we look at the package that we're fortunate enough to run, and like I said, touch wood, everything's just gone to plan. So it can change so quickly on you.
Yeah.
And that's the way it goes.
Yeah. No, and it's tough as well going to events, not just locally. I mean, you guys being over in Perth know this probably better than the majority of Australians, even having to travel to an event, going such a big distance. You want all your stuff to be in tip-top condition. You want it to make sure that it's going to go through the entire main. So being able to go overseas or virtually to overseas for 2 events and then staying within the country, but on the opposite side of the country for the 3rd event and competing for the hour-long mains and finishing all 3 in a decent spot, that's epic. So big ups to you both on that one, that's for sure.
Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, man, it's been good.
Actually, Tony Firth just put up a comment before as well saying attention to detail wasn't just a track surface, it's the whole facility. And that's what, from what I've heard, came from a lot of people as well, which is awesome. So
I mean, you look at, we'll start off with, we touched briefly on Vietnam. When they do something over in Asia, they do it to the nth degree and it's done properly. And no one will ever go without, to the point where when we landed, we were handed SIM cards. You go, there you go, mate, there's SIM cards, so you're taken care of, you can talk to whoever you want to talk to the facility, to the track, to the transport. The hour-long bus ride was a pain in the ass each way, but that's what you had to sort of deal with. And then you go to the likes of Brisbane. That's another world-class facility. I mean, you can't. There's nothing on any of these facilities that have had these major events that you can. They have everything down to the last T and R dotted. It's absolutely fantastic. Oh, we are so lucky in that. I think Australia is leading the way in everything that we're doing within the racing and motorsport scene. I mean, think about how everything's progressing, and you've got the likes of RC Race Media going absolutely to these events and doing what they do. Where else do they do that like they do? No one. Absolute leaders in the industry.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with you, especially on the RC Race Media thing. And I know I've talked about it a fair bit with Tony Firth and what Matt Seckel does, and I know that Scotty Guyatt was down at New South Wales, and obviously they get Scotty Ernst on for their main race calls when it comes to Asian series and stuff. But yeah, as we actually had a chat before we got on stream, and just complimenting how well that they do it, and the fact that I think we're all pretty well in agreement that it is the best when it comes to RC Race Media, and realistically as close as it probably will get to what we'll see on TV for something like V8 Supercars or Formula One and stuff. I think the quality is incredible. I'm sure you guys agree on that one.
Sorry, excuse me. Dog's just getting close together. Sorry.
That's all right. They're just doing their job. Moving on with that as well, I know I wanted to have a bit of a chat about Scotty Guyatt being part of the Asian Buggy Championships and his write-ups and stuff. So feel free to jump on and just have a bit of a chat about the detail that you guys know that Scotty goes into when it comes to that sort of things.
I'll tell you, I was absolutely flabbergasted at, I've only known Scotty personally for a very short time. And I think the first time I met him was in the Philippines, 2024. One of the PM races. I think it was 2024. And I'd seen what he had done and listened to some of some of the interviews and whatnot that he does, and I thought to myself, this is someone who understands our addiction. This is someone who actually delves into everything and can just
Speak his mind.
yeah, actually speak it the way it is. And the way that man writes is absolutely unbelievable, to the point where we were in Jakarta, and unfortunately Scotty wasn't there, so he's quite a number of hours away from us, and the communication that he was having with the RC Race Media team and following the event, you know, Christian would come off the track, and within 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or half an hour, whatever it was, there's this write-up that's this long, and the wording is unbelievable, and he's not even there. So how he does it, he's an absolute mastermind. So Scotty, I hope you're watching this, mate. Just hats off to you, mate, because you are a true legend of this motorsport. Everything you do, mate, is absolutely fantastic. So well done.
Yeah. And I got to see it once again firsthand down in New South Wales for the Australian Off-Road 10 scale titles. And did the sort of in between of, let's say, Q2 to Q3 sort of detailed analysis of what had happened between the two rounds and where it was up to, and then between qualifying and the racing. And, you know, went into input of, say, tyre, where who had more tyres, had the details of a lot of that sort of stuff that, once again, you don't usually get from an RC event, let alone quite a lot of high-level motorsport events. So, and it hurts my brain to think about how much is going through his brain. So, incredible.
The detail is insane. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so on to future events. What are your plans for the end of the year? Have you got anything else lined up towards the end of Christmas or before Christmas? And then on to prospects for next year, nationals, that sort of things. What are we looking at?
In terms of this year, I think we've had enough. I think we need to keep the bank account happy.
Whose bank account, sorry?
Whatever. I think just local races in Perth, WA sort of thing. Yeah. In terms of next year, we want to go to the States. We want to plan a trip to meet family as well. So meet family and then also do some racing. So get that ticked out the box. And yeah, because of obviously work and time off, 4 weeks a year. So that American race will be 2 weeks. And then I've got to sort of pick my choices for the other ABC races, sort of thing, and obviously nationals. Do nationals. But yeah, I'm still trying to think of what other ABC races I can do. Because America definitely would take up 2 ABC races, so I'm trying to figure out which ones to sacrifice. But yeah, that's next year at least.
Have you got an event in mind that you're looking to go to over in the US?
Was it Wicked Weekend?
Yeah, it's a Wicked Weekend. So, you know, like Christian said, we've got family over in Texas. Even though Wicked Weekend is nowhere near Texas, it's in Georgia. But
thanks, Scotty.
The man himself, Scotty Ernst, jumping on. Thank you very much, Scotty.
Yeah, so the plan is to go over in July, and that's because of it's hot as hell over in Texas in July. So it's also during, obviously, my youngest son's school holidays as well. So it's sort of, don't have much of a choice, but that's the way it's sort of been planned for. You know, family. We've got family all around the world, so they're all trying to meet over in one place at once, and that's the plan. So it's going to be July.
Okay, awesome. Wicked Weekend. I quite often see that each and every year come around. It always looks like a pretty intense sort of race meeting, so that'll be good fun.
Yeah, so I think that's planned for the end of July. So yeah.
Yep. No, good. With that as well, nationals over in Australia and back in Australia. I know you guys you said you're looking at doing that, obviously. Batesman Bay, pretty certain that's been all locked in. I think the date's been confirmed now. I can't remember exactly the dates. What's that?
September. I don't know the date, but September.
Obviously, you guys are pretty locked into doing that and being on another oil track again. You guys looking at getting over there for a practice or just taking a oil track setup, running it as is?
I think we're pretty down packed with oiled surfaces in terms of setup. I think Bayman's Bay looks insanely grippy from what I've seen. I'm not sure if they're changing it up at all, because I know they're doing something to the track or of some sort. I'm not too sure.
No idea.
To make it a bit bigger. And But yeah, I think definitely either Philippines or even a South Australian setup would hopefully work, and then that would be our base sort of setup, and then just tweak it from there.
Right. And yes, Tony Firth, I may or may not have forgotten about RCRA State. I apologize. I am bringing it up right now. No, I'm terrible with it, I know. Let's see. Yeah, actually, it's a really good website, man. I once again, I appreciate what you're doing with this side of things. RCRA 1/8 scale off-road at Bateman Bay on the 28th to the 31st of August 2025. There we go. Thank you very much, RCRA State and Tony Firth. You are a legend.
Am I home? Am I home? First question, am I home to go racing? I don't know, I have to check.
There we go. But yeah, we'll start to wrap it up anyway pretty soon. We've been talking for almost an hour. Is there anything else you guys want to say? If there's any other questions, comments, or anything like that as well, people from watching, feel free to add them on now. But yeah, anything you guys want to talk about before we knock this one on the head?
Yeah, I think from me, I've spoken quite a lot about, well, we've spoken quite a bit about the tracks and whatnot, and obviously you mentioned Scotty Guard. But I think that, we look at the actual ABC series itself, it really is something to, if you can get behind it, get behind it.
Yeah.
The amount of effort that gets put into this is insurmountable. You can't replicate this effort by these crews anywhere. And having the likes of Tony and Matt and Scotty Gart and Scotty Ernest and whatnot running it, it's unbelievable. It really is. I think we're very fortunate in that we have such a great series bringing our motorsport to the world, and we are in the forefront pushing it in the world. That's what we do. What they do, we just turn up. They do all the hard work. We enjoy the fruits of their what they do. So I mean, those guys are true legends, and really appreciate everything that they do. And along with that, you can't take away from the likes of Zach Ryan and you, Ty, and the rest of your formidable crew over at Pine Hills, and the likes of Adrian Kasana and his crew, and Edward Seo, and obviously Shane O'Connor over New Zealand. Without those teams, those guys and those teams behind them, what would we be racing on? You look at it like that. So
yeah,
I can't thank the guys enough. But yeah, I think that's where it's at. This is where I see it.
Yeah. No, the series that Scotty Owens puts on, it's world class, and I think a lot more people sort of realizing that. A lot more Americans we're seeing to come over for it, which is awesome.
Hopefully not too many.
Not too many.
But too fast.
It'd be good to see a couple other really big names come over, though. It'd be good to see like a Mayfield or even a European driver or two to come over.
I do know that of some names that are coming over to the Philippines. I won't say who, but I do know
that's fine.
beautiful things happening.
Good. That makes me want to get to the Philippines even more now. Great.
You need to.
No, it is good to see, and it's good to see that it's now being supported more and more worldwide. The Philippine Masters has always been a fairly strong event worldwide, but it seems to be getting even stronger now with Scotty Ernst's push, as well as a really good, live coverage as we've been talking about, and it just seems getting stronger and stronger. And being part of the Asian Buggy Championships as well, it just brings it all together. So it's really awesome to see. Good to see that we have that New Zealand race as well, because I do feel like quite a lot of the time New Zealand sort of gets left in the dust when it comes to larger scale events. You know, we quite often tend to see the New Zealand drivers come over to Australia, but we don't really often see Australian drivers get over to New Zealand. So I think that's a great opportunity to involve our brethren from across the water. So yeah, I think they've done a really good job of planning out, you know, the different countries. It's not just all in, you know, 2 events in Australia, 1 over in Asia, or, you know, missing out New Zealand. That they've done a really awesome job with the planning of it, and spread out in good, comfortable dates as well, what I can see. With IFMAR, I know I don't want to go off track too far, but for some reason, when it comes to IFMAR events, they put them all September, October. You have, you know, 3 or 4 world championships all within a couple of weeks. You know, it's good to see that we have realistically a world prepared series planned out well and spaced out over a decent amount of time. Not too much, but not too closely linked that just makes it impossible. So I think they planned it really well. Everything was really good. So yeah, as you mentioned, if you can get behind, if you can get to the events, by all means get to the events. It's well worth it. So
Yeah.
but yeah. Pete's jumped on and said, "Hey legends, g'day Pete."
Hey,
Pete's he's an honorary Queenslander. He travels to Queensland almost every week from Grafton, about a 5-hour drive each time to come race at Chargers. So he's an honorary Queenslander. Absolute legend.
does he have a passport?
To Queensland, or
Yeah.
no, we haven't given him one yet.
Yeah, well, you need to get a passport from Queensland to New
Yeah,
South
no.
Wales.
I kind of feel like we'd like the idea that if something goes wrong, we can just kick him back to New South Wales, even though he's an honorary Queenslander. We can just, oh, Pete, you're getting a bit angry today. Back
That's
you
right.
go.
Back on your
Send him
side.
back. Yeah, back you go. No, he's an absolute legend. And Young Egg's been coming through the ranks pretty quickly lately as well.
Oh,
So,
quick.
yeah, getting real quick. Nervously quick. I'm past me, way past my level, so I've thrown that out the bin now. So anyway. But yeah. Alrighty. We'll wrap this up, boys. I really appreciate you guys for jumping on and chatting to me about, you know, recent events and, you know, how strong you've come up through the ranks in the last couple of years as well, Christian. It's been really impressive to watch. I think a lot of people have sort of been really impressed at, you know, how quickly you progressed in the last sort of 2 to 3 years. And I'm looking forward to see where you can go from here. And Martin, hopefully wrenching continues to stay loyal to Christian's speed on track. So, but yeah, no,
Hope so.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, like I said, it's sort of my pawn, so can't leave it alone.
Quality boys. I really enjoy you jumping on and having a good little chat with us, and I'm sure we'll chat to you, if not at the Nationals, hopefully beforehand.
Right.
So
Sounds good.
thank
Thanks
you
for
very
having
much, boys,
Us.
and we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.
See you, boys. All right. Whoa, big boy. Turn that down a little bit. Yeah, massive thank you to Christian and Martin for jumping on the chat. You know, once again, taking an hour out of their life. It's not just the hour that we chat on here. You know, they had to jump on 45 plus minutes beforehand. We discuss a lot of stuff. So really big thank you to those boys for jumping on and having a chat, discussing recent performances, future performances, the cars and all that sort of things. It takes a fair bit of time out of their time to jump on and have a bit of a chit chat. So really appreciate that as well. Very quick mention, and I want to do an actual live stream hopefully next week whilst I'm away. Once again, that's why I'm testing out the new headphones, see how it all runs. But hopefully going to have a live stream about the New South Wales Nationals sometime next week. Keep an eye out for that. Hopefully get someone involved in that as well. But yeah, that should be a good one to talk about. We obviously had a couple of US drivers coming over for it, including Spencer Rivkin, Scotty Ernst was there, and Chase Lemieux. So a really good event down there. I only just managed to sneak off to it, had the weekend off and just drove down. So I managed to sneak off to that one. Really awesome event. I'll have more of an in-depth talk about that probably next week. So keep an eye out for that. If 10 scale is not your thing, no worries. Give it a like, share it on to someone else, and I'll appreciate that anyway. All good, guys. I'm going to wrap that up, and we will talk to you another time. See you later.